Well, hi, good evening everybody on YouTube, afternoon, morning, whenever it catches you. This is Sparky Mike. Welcome to the Demonoid Drifter channel. I saw a couple things on YouTube about the Vertex Calicum Reactor and making noise and the recirculating pump basically sucking excess CO2 and creating a lot of noise and people upset with it. And I noticed it tends to recirculate the CO2 and blow a lot of bubbles up into the main chamber and actually clouds the water or the output, basically the effluent going back in, and that used to clog up the little valves and such, which made it really hard to get a consistent drip rate. So had a little trick here. I did it like a year ago and never mentioned it on YouTube, but thought I'd mention it now. You can basically cut into one of the tubes on top. As you see here, I've teed off on one of them and I put a valve over here basically to bleed off and bypass the small chamber and to bleed off excess CO2 that would accumulate in the top and get recirculated. Also added a valve here to shut off the recirculate, and added a valve down here on the small chamber to stop the siphon effect when you start using the other drain off, and to easily disconnect this chamber so I can add or remove the third chamber to up or lower my magnesium and alkalinity. So this is about what I run here. It's quite a bit. It's doing pretty good so far in my 300-gallon system. So here's just a little update. Add a couple valves in a couple places and tee off on the excess CO2 line on the top, the recirc line. Add a valve, and you'll be able to drain off the excess CO2 instead of it accumulating and creating all kinds of CO2 bubbles and making this pump really noisy. So every once in a while I'll come down here and flip a couple valves and either open it or recirculate and drop off some of that excess CO2. And that's about it. Anyways, it's a tip on how to make it not so noisy, a little more bearable, and a little more efficient than factory. Unfortunately, those valves are about 10 bucks a pop at Home Depot. And that's about it. Well, everybody have a good night. Hope you enjoyed the tip. Take care. Happy reefing.